Hello, ladies and gentlemen, this is Mrs. Gallagher, and today we're going to discuss dividing with scientific notation. So the directions state divide 6.5 times 10 to the 6th power divided by 7.3 times 10 to the 2nd power. Write the quotient in scientific notation. So there's 5 steps how we want to divide in scientific notation. Step 1, we want to separate the numbers and the powers of 10. So we're going to separate the numbers and the powers of 10. So what are our numbers here? It is 6.5 divided by 7.3. So we're going to write 6.5 divided by 7.3. And now we're going to times that by our powers of 10, which is 10 to the 6th divided by 10 to the 2nd. So 10 to the 6th divided by 10 to the 2nd. Step 2 is you want to divide the numbers. So step 2, we want to divide 6.5 by 7.3. And 6.5 divided by 7.3 gives us 0.89. And then we're going to multiply that by our scientific notation, 10 to the 6th over 10 to the 2nd. Which leads us to step 3. We want to subtract the exponents. So in step 3, we're going to subtract our exponents. So let's bring down 0.89, and then we're going to times that. And we're going to follow our rules for exponents using division. So the same base is 10, and then we're going to subtract 6 minus 2. We're going to subtract our exponents, and that's going to equal 0.89 times 10 to the 4th power. Step 4, we want to write the decimal in scientific notation. So step 4, we're going to write our decimal in scientific notation. Our decimal is 0.89. So we need to move the decimal over one spot to the right. So let's rewrite that as 8.9 times 10 to the negative 1st power. And then we're going to times that by 10 to the 4th power. And then step 5, our last step, is we want to add the exponents. So step 5, we want to add our exponents. So we have 10 to the negative 1st power times 10 to the 4th power, and we have the same base, and we multiply, we add them. Therefore, our final answer is 8.9 times, and we have 10, and we're going to say negative 1 plus 4, which is going to give us 8.9 times 10 to the 3rd power. And that is your answer. So now let's do some more examples together. So in example 1, it says 8 times 10 to the 9th divided by 4. You want to separate your numbers in scientific notation. So we're going to say 8 to the 4th times, and we just have here 10 to the 9th. So now let's divide. 8 divided by 4 gives us 2 times 10 to the 9th. Now ask yourself, is 2 already in scientific notation? Yes, it is. So now your final answer is, it's equal to 2 times 10 to the 9th. And that is your answer. So in example 1, we didn't have to do as many steps. Let's look at example 2. 6 times 10 to the 9th divided by 2 times 10 to the 7th. So let's separate it. We have 6 over 2 times 10 to the ninth over 10 to the seventh. Okay, your first step, you want to divide your numbers. So 6 divided by 2 is 3 times your next step, 10 to the ninth divided by 10 to the seventh. So you are going to, you have the same base, we're going to follow the rules of exponents. So you're going to say 10, and you're going to subtract 9 minus 7, which is going to give us 2. Therefore, your final answer is 3 times 10 to the second power. Let's look at example 3. We have 4.9 times 10 to the 8th divided by 7 times 10 to the 5th. So our first step is you want to separate your numbers and your scientific notation. So 4.9 divided by 7 times 10 to the 8th divided by 10 to the 5th. Okay, your next step, you want to divide 4.9 by 7, and that's going to give you 0.7 times, and then you're going to subtract your exponents. So you're going to say 10, and you're going to say 8 minus 5. And that's going to give us 0.7 times 10 to the third power. So now you want to ask yourself, is this already in scientific notation? And if you notice here, it's 0.7. So is that in scientific notation? No, it has to be 1 or greater. So now you want to move your decimal 1 to the right, and we're going to rewrite it. 7.0 times 10 to the negative first power. And now we're going to times that by 10 to the third power. Okay, so now our last step is you want to add your exponents. You want to add them because you're multiplying same basis. So now we have 7.0 times 10, and we're going to say negative 1 plus 3. And negative 1 plus 3 is going to give us 2. Therefore, our final answer is 7 times 10 to the second power. Let's look at number 4. 8 times 10 to the 7th divided by 2 times 10 to the 11th. So let's break it up. We have 8 divided by 2 times 10 to the 7th over 10 to the 11th. So now your first step, 8 divided by 2 gives us 4 times, you're dividing with the same base, so we subtract our exponents. Say 10 to the 7 minus 11. So that gives us 4 times 10 to the 7 minus 11 gives us negative 4. 4 is already in scientific notation. Therefore, our answer is 4 times 10 to the negative fourth power. Now let's look at a word problem dealing with scientific notation. So let's look at our fifth example, a word problem, an application problem. It states the average distance between the Sun and Jupiter is about 4.8 times 10 to the 8th miles. Light travels about 1.1 times 10 to the 7th miles per minute. Estimate how long sunlight takes to reach Jupiter. Write your answer in standard form and round to the nearest whole number. So let's recall the formula. Time equals distance over speed, or divided by speed. Because they're asking us for how long the sunlight takes to reach Jupiter. So what's our distance here? Well, our distance is 4.8 times 10 to the 8th miles. So let's plug that in. Over our speed, which is 1.1 times 10 to the 7th miles per minute. Okay, so our next step is we want to separate it. So that equals, we're going to say 4.8 over 1.1 times 10 to the 8th divided by 10 to the 7th. And that equals 4.8 divided by 1.1 gives us 4.36. And then you're going to times that by, remember you want to subtract your exponents. So 8 minus 7, which is going to give us 1. So we have 4.36 times 10 to the first power. Okay, so let's go back and read what the question's asking us. Write your answer in standard form and round to the nearest whole number. Well, this is scientific notation, and we want to write it in standard form. So we have one spot to the first power, so that means we're going to move it one spot to the right. And it's asking for your nearest whole number. So this equals 43.6. That's not your nearest whole number. Your nearest whole number would be 44. And what are we talking about here? We're talking about minutes to Jupiter. So it's 44 minutes to Jupiter. So I'd like you to complete the You Try section. Please do problems 1, 2, and 3, and we will discuss it in class. Thank you.